Hey, good morning, guys. Welcome to part 8 of the 1992 Stratos 201 Pro Rehab project. Okay, last time you saw this boat, we had put primer on it and we were starting to sand. Now, that was Saturday morning, so Saturday all day, and then Sunday most of the day, we sanded this boat. The white is the original 2 coats of primer we put on. The gray is a spot primer that I did in areas that weren't quite right. We sanded through whatever. I put that on Monday, and then we sanded again yesterday, and we had some more areas, which is the yellowish peach color. I tinted it with the tint kit I got from Total Boat, just so we can tell what has been sanded, what needs to be sanded very lightly, just to make sure that we don't sand back through again in the areas that have total fair on it. That's the most of the areas. I mean, we had some pinholes, some areas that weren't quite right, and I know at some point we're going to have to figure out that is good enough, because every time I go around this boat with sandpaper in my hand, you see something else that needs to be sanded. Now, we're trying to get it as close to perfect as possible, because I don't yet know how much ugly gel coat will hide. So we're trying to get this boat really close with the primer. I know it's not a brand new molded fiberglass boat. This is a rehab, but I'm a little ADD about stuff, and I want it as perfect as at least I can make it. Now, I can't make it perfect because this is my first one, but I'm trying to get it close. So what we've done the sanding, spot priming, sanding, spot priming again. Also, the last time you saw this boat, the motor was still on it. So I didn't have a hoist. So what I did is I bought the 2-ton engine hoist from Harbor Freight. It's like $360. I could have used one several times in the past. I've got other uses for it around here. I went ahead and bit the bullet and bought it. Also, since then, I have acquired another Ranger. It's a 2003 that will be rehabbed once we get this one done, so I'm going to need it anyway. And if this works out and I actually make a profit doing this, I'll probably do a bunch more. So we needed it. When we pulled the motor, what we found was underneath the manual jack plate. Now, this had to happen from Stratus, so whoever put that jack plate on it, I'm sure it was from Stratus. There's some pretty badly gouged fiberglass or gel coat with the fiberglass exposed. And anyway, so that's been faired. They had also crushed the gunnel by torquing the top motor bolts down way too heavy. So I faired out the depression. We have a plate that's going to cross there anyway to spread that load out across the transom. The transom's solid. There's nothing wrong with this boat structure anymore. The other thing that we took care of, hang on a second, is yesterday, sorry about the glasses, it is clear and bright. Also, it was 85 degrees Sunday afternoon. We were dying, sweating, humid out here, and this morning it's 47. So, yeah, the joke about Florida, if you don't like the weather, just wait a few minutes. It's true. So what we did yesterday was we sealed the cap back to the hull and with 5200, and we just let it squeeze out, because you really can't bead or smear 5200 like you can caulking. It is so sticky that it just winds up everywhere. So what we'll do today is we'll go into areas like this and we'll just cut it with a razor blade. That will get primed again. The other part of the sanding that we have not done yet, the cap is mostly done. I know it looks horrible with shadows. You see every little wrinkle, but a lot of these wrinkles are behind hinges or underneath C-deck or just hidden from sight anyway. We're knocking those down, but I'm not trying to get that perfect. We will wind up cutting this today, probably pulling the temp screws. I've been filling those holes just so the gunnel is not full of of holes. I've already filled the old holes, and then we'll put, once we get the gel coat done and the sanding done, we'll put the rub rail on it. One other thing we did, okay, let's try this one more time. Maybe we won't get interrupted by airplanes and airboats. So another thing that we did yesterday is I had already faired in these panels that I put in to fill in this hole, and it's nice and flush here. We got some sanding to do, just clean these holes up. We had touched up the primer that's on it. This is probably what I'm going to start practicing my gel coating skills on, at least spraying them. Another project that's going to probably start today is the Total Boat Total Protect epoxy primer. Will work on aluminum. You do not have to have an aluminum etching primer. If you sand the aluminum that you're going to put it on, wipe it with acetone, and then coat it within 2 hours. If you stay within that 2-hour window, the Total Boat will actually adhere to the aluminum, and you can get the primer on and then sand that and then gel coat afterwards. So that's happening today. Final sanding is happening today on the cap. The beginning of the sanding on the side of the hull will go today. The goal is gel coat by Sunday. We have today and tomorrow with decent weather. It's going to be nice and dry, and then we have rain on Friday and Saturday. So not exactly sure what we'll be working on then. I might actually be taking a rest or in the rod shop building a few rods. But it's coming along. So today's plan is to sand and trim and sand some more, and maybe even start putting some primer on the lids. So you guys grab some sandpaper and let's go. Well, that's it for day 41. We did get a lot accomplished today. We got about 3/4 of the boat sanded, the hull sanded. We had to do some more spot priming. The blue is the final spot priming. That's 3 times we spot primed. Now we have the gray. The peach yellowish color that I put on late yesterday with the cold temps last night, it didn't set hard. I mean, it's not tacky, but when you go to sand it, it still is clogging up sandpaper. So we're going to give that another day before we try to sand any more of that. Hopefully it's just a temperature thing, because it was, we put it on late yesterday right as the temps started dropping, and they went down to low 40s this morning. By the time the temperature started climbing again, we were at like 43, 44, and it didn't warm up here until probably 11. It's when I finally had to take the sweatpants off. But a lot of sanding. I did some fairing work underneath. I had to drill out about 10 old screw holes from God knows what was mounted to the bottom of it. I re-drilled them, put a cone shape on them. I used a Total Fair to fair them. 4 hours later, I was able to sand it, and then we just put the primer on it. And the primer is going, oh, hang on, let's get a little lower. Okay, this is the level I've been on all day. So the holes were, again, there was at least 10. I was able to do some repairs on some blisters in the gel coat in the bottom here, where the bunks, the boat is set on a trailer most of its life, and that's where the bunks were. I had the same problem with the Triton when I redid it. And then I got a few more down here. When we reblock it, after we get gel coat on this area, I'm gonna be able to do the total repair. There's not that many. There's a few more down where the front of the bunks were. Down there, not too bad. And I ordered the G2 base, Gator base from Gator Glide to put on it. Thanks. But the boat's starting to look like a finished boat. Tomorrow will be the last bit of sanding, I hope, and then we'll get this boat clean. And then, like I said, rain Friday and Saturday, and then hopefully Sunday we do a final wipe down with acetone and start putting some gel coat on. So anyway, that's the end of day 41. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.